In the days to come, everything will try to take your attention. Every voice will fight to pull you in 100 different directions. You will be bombarded with opinions, distractions, and temptations that seem harmless on the surface, but underneath, they will be poison to your soul. This is not a season for casual living, and it is not a time to wander aimlessly. You are the chosen one, and because you are chosen, the margin for error is gone. The world can afford to waste time, but you cannot. The world can afford to live distracted, but you cannot. You carry something inside you that must be guarded at all costs. There are moments in history when the atmosphere changes. You feel it in the air. You see it in the pace of life. You sense it deep in your spirit. We are in such a moment now. The pace is faster. The noise is louder. And the pull to blend in, to compromise, to give up, has never been stronger. But this is not the time to shrink back. This is not the time to silence your voice. This is not the time to let the fire go out. Because if the fire dies, you die with it, not physically, but in purpose, in destiny, in the calling you were born to fulfill. You have been marked for something greater, and that mark attracts both the favor of heaven and the resistance of hell. The moment you said yes to your purpose, the opposition was set in motion, not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous. Hell does not fight what it does not fear. The attacks, the betrayals, the disappointments, they are not signs of your failure. They are signs that you have been identified as a threat. And in the days ahead, only a certain kind of strength will keep you standing. But understand this, your greatest danger will not be obvious. It will not come dressed in darkness. It will come disguised in light. It will not scream evil in your face. It will whisper, "This is harmless," in your ear. That is why everything else will be poison for you except the few things that truly sustain life. Not every relationship is safe for you now. Not every opportunity is meant for you now. Not every voice is one you can listen to now, because the chosen cannot eat what the crowd eats. The chosen cannot drink what the masses drink. The chosen cannot feed their spirit on the same diet as the world and expect to remain pure. This is where separation becomes survival. If you are not willing to separate from what is killing your focus, you will slowly suffocate under the weight of distractions. The enemy's strategy has shifted. He knows he can't always destroy you outright, so he will try to dilute you. A diluted chosen one is as powerless as a broken vessel. You may still look intact on the outside, but inside, the strength is gone. And once the strength is gone, your influence fades, your discernment weakens, and your vision blurs. Chosen one, you cannot afford blurred vision in these days. Vision is what will tell you when to move, when to wait, when to fight, and when to flee. Vision is what will separate those who survive from those who fall away. Without it, every path will look the same, and you will wander in circles until it's too late. And vision does not come from feeding on poison. It comes from feeding on truth. The truth will cut you at times. The truth will convict you. The truth will call you out. But the truth will also keep you alive when lies surround you like smoke in a burning building. Think about it. Poison is rarely bitter in the beginning. It is sweet. It soothes. It feels like it's helping you. And that is why so many are perishing now. Not because they are weak, but because they are feeding on what looks good, but is deadly inside. They scroll endlessly, numb their minds with entertainment, consume endless opinions, and drink in the approval of others while their spirit starves. And then they wonder why their fire has dimmed, why their passion has cooled, why their prayers feel empty. The answer is simple. They have replaced the bread of life with crumbs from the enemy's table. But not you, not anymore. You are going to make a decision in the days ahead. A decision that will either preserve your destiny or poison it. And that decision will not be a one-time event. It will be daily. It will be hourly. It will be in the way you speak, the way you think, the way you choose who gets access to your heart. Every moment will be a choice between life and death, between fire and ashes, between truth and deception. And if you want to finish the race, you cannot run with weights strapped to your soul. You must know this. The weight is not always sin. Sometimes the weight is simply not for you. What others can handle will destroy you. What others can joke about will defile you. What others can play with will consume you. This is the cost of being chosen. You will live differently. You will walk differently. You will see differently. And yes, it will cost you friends, comfort, and the applause of people who do not understand you. But in return, you will gain clarity, authority, and a strength that cannot be shaken. In the days ahead, you will see many who once stood strong begin to fall away. And it won't happen in a dramatic collapse. It will be subtle. A little compromise here, a little distraction there, a slow erosion of conviction until they no longer look like the person they once were. This is why you must guard your spirit as if your life depends on it, because it does. The enemy will not warn you when he sets the trap. He will lure you in with something that feels safe, even necessary. But every step toward poison is a step away from your calling. You must become ruthless with what you allow into your soul. If it steals your peace, cut it off. If it distracts you from your purpose, remove it. If it makes you numb to God's voice, destroy it. Because in these days, the difference between life and death will be the ability to hear clearly, see clearly, and move quickly when the Spirit says go or stop. And there are only a few things that will keep you alive. Not talent, not charm, not connections, not money, only purity, only discipline, only obedience, only truth. These are your lifelines now. Everything else is poison. You will be misunderstood. You will be mocked. You will be accused of being too intense or too extreme. But you are not here to be understood. You are here to endure. The world may not realize it yet, but a storm is coming, and when it hits, only those who have prepared will stand. And preparation is not about stockpiling things you can lose. It's about storing up what cannot be taken from you. Your strength will not come from what's in your hands. It will come from what's in your heart. And a pure heart is the most dangerous weapon you can carry in these times. So here is the truth. You cannot afford to wait until the chaos comes to decide who you are. You must decide now. Decide that you will not be bought. Decide that you will not be seduced. Decide that you will not be diluted. Decide that your fire will not go out. Because once the poison seeps in, it is far harder to remove than it is to resist. The days ahead will test you, not just your strength, but your loyalty. Will you choose the voice of truth when the crowd is chanting lies? Will you stand alone if it means standing with God? Will you walk away from what looks safe in order to follow the narrow road? This is the mark of the chosen. They do not survive because it is easy. They survive because they refuse to die spiritually, no matter what it costs. And when the shaking comes, when the noise reaches its peak, when the world loses its anchor, you will be different. Not because you are stronger in yourself, but because you have learned to feed on what gives life and reject what brings death. Because you have learned that in the end, everything else is poison, and only these few things, purity, discipline, obedience, truth, will keep you alive. The first thing you must understand is that the weight you carry right now is not an accident. It is evidence of the call upon your life. Chosen ones do not simply appear, they are forged. And forging is not a gentle process. It is fire, it is pressure. It is the breaking away of everything that cannot remain for the journey ahead. The reason it feels like everything is being stripped from you is because it is. Not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. There are seasons where God will remove every false prop you have leaned on, not to leave you empty, but to make sure that when you stand on what cannot be shaken. You may think you need the approval of certain people to survive. You may believe you cannot make it without that opportunity you lost. You may feel like without their validation, you have nothing. But the truth is, those things were not your source. They were distractions disguised as blessings. The chosen are called to learn the difference between provision and poison. What looks like provision from man may actually be poison to your spirit if it shifts your trust from God to them. The call on your life is not sustained by human applause, it is sustained by divine assignment. This is why you have felt the weight of separation lately. People you thought would be with you forever are suddenly distant. Opportunities that seemed certain have vanished. Doors that looked wide open have slammed shut. And your first instinct may be to think something is wrong with you, that you have failed, that you have been abandoned. But the truth is, you are being set apart for what's ahead, and not everyone can walk with you there. The closer you get to your destiny, the narrower the road becomes, and the fewer the companions that can go with you. The crowd you once moved with cannot fit through the path you're about to walk. If you try to take them with you, you will both get stuck. This is why you feel the loneliness. This is why you feel misunderstood. This is why it seems like you can enjoy what others enjoy without feeling a disturbance in your spirit. That disturbance is your confirmation. You are not like them. You have been marked for something different. The chosen cannot live like the average person. You are not free to fill your mind with the same noise, your heart with the same desires, your time with the same distractions, because the chosen carry something fragile yet powerful, something easily contaminated if not guarded. It's not pride, it's awareness. A soldier on the battlefield does not carry glass ornaments in his backpack because the weight and fragility will destroy his effectiveness. In the same way, you cannot carry the unnecessary if you plan to survive what's coming. This is why everything else becomes poison to you now. Not because it is always evil in itself, but because it is not for you. It does not feed you. It does not strengthen you. It does not move you forward. And if it does not move you toward your assignment, it moves you away from it. There is no neutral ground for the chosen. You may wonder why the intensity of your battles has increased lately, why you feel constantly tested, why every weakness is being exposed. It is not because God has forgotten you. It is because you are being prepared for a season where only the disciplined will endure. In the days ahead, it will not be talent that keeps people standing. It will not be charisma, resources, or human connections. It will be the inner strength of those who have learned to live on truth when everything else feels like a lie. That kind of strength is not built in comfort. It is built in conflict. Every rejection you've endured has been training you not to crumble when the world turns its back. Every delay has been teaching you to trust God's timing over your own. Every loss has been breaking your attachment to what can be taken from you so that your foundation is set in what cannot be removed. Understand this: when you are chosen, you are not called to win by the world's methods. You will not survive by playing their game. They may seem ahead for a season, but when the shaking comes, and it will, only those whose strength is not in the system will stand. And the shaking will expose what is real and what is counterfeit. Many who appear strong will crumble, not because they were weak, but because they were dependent on poison sources. The chosen will outlast them, not because they are better, but because they have learned to refuse what does not give life. You are being trained now to refuse, to turn down opportunities that do not align, to walk away from conversations that drain you, to reject the need to explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. And though it feels like loss, it is actually preservation. You are being preserved for the days when everything else is falling apart. And those who laughed at your discipline will seek your wisdom. And here's the deeper truth. You are not only chosen for survival, you are chosen for influence. But influence is dangerous in the wrong hands. Without purification, influence becomes corruption. That is why your wilderness is so long, your tests so repetitive. God is not trying to punish you. He is making sure that when He trusts you with more, you will not poison yourself with it. The chosen must have clean hands and a pure heart, not because it is religious tradition, but because in the days ahead, there will be no room for double lives. The pressure will expose every compromise. The fire will reveal what is gold and what is hay. And only those who have allowed the refining to complete its work will shine when the darkness covers the earth. So, chosen one, stop looking at what you have lost and start seeing what you are gaining. You are gaining the strength to walk alone. You are gaining the clarity to discern the true from the false. You are gaining the discipline to reject poison even when it is served in a golden cup. These are not small things. They are survival skills for what's coming. Everything else may look tempting, but for you, it is death disguised as life. And once you know that you cannot go back to ignorance, you have been awakened. And with awakening comes responsibility. The second thing you must settle in your heart is that obedience will be your lifeline when everything else fails. In the days ahead, logic will not be enough to guide you. What looks wise to man will lead to destruction, and what looks foolish to man will lead to life. The chosen cannot afford to live by human reasoning alone. They must move by divine instruction. And obedience is not partial compliance. It is full surrender. It is doing what you are told when you are told, in the way you are told, without trying to adjust it to your own preferences. Many will perish not because they lacked opportunity, but because they delayed obedience until it was too late. Obedience requires trust, and trust is impossible without intimacy. You cannot obey a voice you do not know. You cannot follow instructions from someone you have not learned to recognize. This is why the enemy's greatest weapon is distraction. Because if he can fill your life with enough noise, you will mistake the wrong voice for the right one. And in these coming days, one wrong step can cost you everything. That is not fear, it is reality. When the atmosphere is filled with deception, the only ones who will navigate safely are those who have trained themselves to respond to the shepherd's voice without hesitation. Think of Noah building an ark when there was no rain. Think of Abraham leaving everything familiar to go to a land he could not see. Think of the disciples dropping their nets in an instant to follow a man who simply said, "Come." In each case, obedience made no sense to human reasoning, but it was the very thing that preserved their destiny. This is the pattern for the chosen. You will be asked to do things that others will mock, to walk away from what others chase, to remain when others run, to run when others remain. And it will not always be comfortable. In fact, it will often cost you more than you think you can give. But obedience is not about comfort. It is about alignment. And in the days ahead, misalignment is fatal. The poison of this age will often present itself as wisdom, as freedom, as self-empowerment. It will tell you to follow your own heart, to create your own truth, to trust in your own understanding. But those who are chosen know that the heart can deceive. Truth is not subjective, and understanding without God is blindness. The safest place for you will be in the center of His will, even if that will take you into the storm. Because the chosen know this, the safest place in the storm is not the absence of wind, but the presence of the one who commands it. There will be moments when obedience will require you to let go of something before you see what will replace it. That is the test. Can you release before you receive? Can you trust the unseen more than the visible? Many cannot, and so they cling to the familiar even as it poisons them. But you, chosen one, cannot afford that luxury. If God says let go, it means what you are holding is not meant to go where He is taking you. And if you refuse, you will forfeit the place prepared for you. The truth is, obedience will sometimes isolate you more than anything else. You will walk away from circles that once gave you life. You will decline opportunities others would kill for. You will be labeled unwise, stubborn, or even arrogant. But the day will come when the fruit of your obedience will be visible to all, and those who mocked you will see that it was not pride. It was preservation. The chosen are preserved not because they are special in the world's eyes, but because they refuse to compromise their alignment with heaven for temporary relief on earth. So prepare yourself. The days ahead will test your loyalty to God above all else. There will be offers that appeal to your ego, relationships that soothe your loneliness, shortcuts that promise quick success. But remember this, everything that takes you off the path of obedience, no matter how attractive, is poison to you. It may not kill you immediately, but it will weaken you until you are no longer fit for the battle. And once that happens, you will realize too late that you traded eternal purpose for temporary comfort. Chosen one, obedience is not your burden, it is your lifeline. In the days to come, when the ground beneath others collapses, you will stand, not because you are immune to trouble, but because you are anchored in the only thing that cannot be moved. And that anchor is not talent, not charm, not influence. It is the steady, unshakable decision to hear and obey the voice of the one who called you. Everything else will fade. Everything else will fail. Everything else will poison you. But obedience will keep you alive.